I don't want to talk about politics. It's not what we discuss in polite society, and I always end up angry at the people who just don't see what's really going on. Welcome to Calm in the Chaos, where I've heard more than a few people express the sentiment that I just spoke. It's not my own. Now that the debates are all over, I can express my point of view. And I'm not sure any of the three debates changed the minds of voters. And rest assured, I'm not going to discuss character or policy in this God Talk. No, I'm going to challenge us all to bring our spirituality, the values that we hold dear, to the discussions on politics. Now, some would argue that the two don't mix, and I heartily disagree, spiritual and politics. When elected officials make policies and when we vote for those elected officials to be in a position to make those policies, we are engaging in putting our values to work. Those policies determine the quality of our lives, how much of our paycheck we take home, how much chemical component is in our tap water, how safe our bridges are, who qualifies for free lunch, and so on. Politics is a very real and very powerful part of our spiritual lives. When we look at the most famous spiritual leader in the Western world, Jesus of Nazareth, we see a person very interested in how humans are governed and how they bring personal character to their communities. The famous passage in Matthew chapter 25 that is called the Sermon on the Mount includes a call for us to behave as a community, to form neighborly, just, honest, and caring relationships with one another. These attributes can be quite personal. I believe you who are watching want to be and want to live around people who are truthful, honest, and caring. For us to maintain communities like this, we have to have guidelines because our communities are larger than just a few people. Guidelines turn into rules and policies and laws that are made by an elected few. To ensure that our communities remain safe, truthful, honest, and caring, we have governing bodies, hence politics. Part of being on an intentional spiritual path may lead us to feel as though we must rise above the mundane goings on here on earth. We want to align with the angels and with the higher self and the godlike attributes. And that may tell us to not engage in politics. But I maintain that while we are engaging in the process of electing new officials, we can rise above. As Michelle Obama noted, when they go low, we go high. Now, going high is not meant to be a snobbish righteousness where we know we're better than someone else because we see the real path forward and they don't. No, it means for us to adopt and practice the arts of maintaining integrity and dignity. It also means to offer dignity to everyone else, even those for whom it is excruciatingly painful to accept their way of life. We are to love our neighbors. But here's another tricky one. Loving our neighbors doesn't mean that we have to agree with them. It means don't threaten them, don't pull up their yard signs. It also means we cultivate forgiveness. And above all else, we honor and trust the process that the world is unfolding as it should. Even when it seems like everything is upside down and hateful, the planet and those dwelling upon it are in a state of flux, of upheaval right now. It's as though the rototiller is doing its spiritual work so that in the future, new life will flourish. Now, there are several ways that we who want our spiritual lives to be healthy and mature can put our higher selves to good use during politically messy times. The list is from Stephen Dinan, the CEO of the Shift Network. First, he advises us to engage in politics for the good of all people, especially those who have no voice. There are many people who have no voting power. a seventh grader, for instance, or a person in a coma, for example. And they are our sisters and brothers. We must care for and about them. And then there are those who are not human, the desert, the oak tree, the polar bear. When I vote, I must want what is best for everyone, not just for myself. Second, he asks us to always be truth tellers. Those of us who strive to live our lives on a higher plane of consciousness are the truth keepers, and that makes us the truth tellers as well. Maintaining personal integrity during difficult discussions can be stressful and exhausting, but we must do it. Third, he asks us to vote for people who share our values. Now, I recently listened to a sermon by a prominent Christian leader who was downplaying one of our presidential candidates' character flaws by urging his congregation to look at policy, not character. I want the people who represent me, the people who go to foreign countries as my leaders, to be examples of the best of humanity, the highest degree of intellect, integrity, respect, and passion for others. And I want leaders who understand the lives of people I love and will implement policies that align with my values. I guess I want it all. Stephen also advocates voting with a longer than 4-year vision, and this reminds me of two things. In the grocery store, you've noticed a brand of cleaning products called Seventh Generation. The term comes from our indigenous sisters and brothers. The Haudenosaunee was originally a confederacy of 5 nations inhabiting the northern part of New York State, consisting of the Seneca, Cayuga, Oneida, Onondaga, and Mohawk. And the seventh generation philosophy exemplifies how today's living people are deeply connected to ancestors and to our descendants as far as 7 generations in the future. Oren Lyons, a faith keeper from the Onondaga Nation, wrote this: "The peacemaker taught us about the 7 generations. He said, when you sit in council for the welfare of the people, you must not think of yourself or your family, not even of your generation. He said, make your decisions on behalf of the 7 generations coming so that they may enjoy what you have today." And Rick Hill, Sr. of the Haudenosaunee, wrote this: "If you ask me what is the most important thing that I've learned about being a Haudenosaunee, it's the idea that we are connected to a community, but a community that transcends time. We're connected to the first people who walked on this earth, the very first ones, however long ago that was. We're also connected to those people who aren't even born yet, who are going to walk this earth. And our job in the middle here is to bridge that gap. You take the inheritance from the past, you add to it your ideas and your thinking, and you bundle it up and shoot it into the future. And there is a different kind of responsibility. That's not just about me, my pride, and my ego. It's about all that other stuff. So let me repeat that last sentence," he continues, "and let it guide all of us in our politics. We inherit a duty. We inherit a responsibility. And that's pretty well drummed into our heads. Don't just come here expecting to benefit. You come here to work hard so that the future can enjoy that benefit." May we all navigate our political discussions with the integrity, truthfulness, compassion, and love that built and continues to sustain our spiritual welfare. Blessings on all. Let's quiet our hearts and minds to spend a moment in silent prayer for the victims of recent hurricanes. for the people who have fled their homes, for those whose homes are destroyed, for people who have lost their lives, for those who cannot find a family member, for those whose pets are lost, and for the responders, the helpers, the rescuers who are working tirelessly to comfort and save others. Let's take a moment to offer our prayers. We close today with a prayer from John Philip Newell. Our heart is comforted in its awareness of you, soul within our soul, life within all life. Our heart is comforted in remembering you, giver of this day, gift of every moment. May we be bearers of comfort. May we be strong in our souls to cry at the wrongs of nations, to weep with the bleeding earth, to mourn with those who mourn this night, in the loss of life and lands, in the loss of dreams and hope. May we be strong in our souls this night. Peace and love to all. Amen.